What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Really excited about this episode because one of my favorite people in the world is making time for us halfway around the world. He's got more X Games medals than he knows what to do with. He is truly an innovator unto himself when it comes to freestyle motocross. I, of course, am talking about Jacko Strong, who looks mighty comfy. How are you, Jackson?
Fina, what's cracking? It's good to be here.
It's really great to see you.
Not great to be here. I wish we were doing this in person and not halfway around the world, but it's better than not seeing your face. Put it that way.
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, Jacko, this, however next we spend together 30, 45 minutes, an hour, this is a trust tree, okay?
Yeah, we're under the trust tree.
Feel you can be completely
Circle
honest
of trust
and open with me, okay?
I don't know if you want to hear all those, but yeah, sure.
So before we get going, man, how you been? I mean, I know how quarantine's been for me here in the United States of America. How about for you in the bush in Australia?
It's been a really great time in the bush this whole time, but I feel it hasn't changed too much for me because where I live, it's like kind of a pretty isolated area to start with. So the whole pandemic thing never really made it out that far. The only thing that changed is I couldn't travel as much and couldn't go to as many shows and things. Whereas I thought the whole time I was always complaining about, oh, I've got to go away this weekend. I've got to go to Europe. I've got to go somewhere and do a show. And the whole time it was kind of felt like a drag. And then as soon as you can't do it, like I love going away and seeing my friends, don't get me wrong, but as soon as you can't do that, you're kind of sitting around thinking, geez, I'm getting really sick of this place. I'm ready to go do something. So that's where I'm at now. I'm very, very deep into that part of it.
Well, I can't wait to hear about all that you've been up to, including filming for your Real Moto part. But before we get to all of that, it's time for the hot box. How quickly can you answer 20 questions? Are you ready?
Yep. Bang. Let's go.
Okay. 3, 2,
1.
Fries or tater tots?
Fries.
Favorite American fast food?
In that.
First CD you ever bought?
Shaggy.
Favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Old School.
Favorite brekkie item?
The bacon and eggs.
First concert you ever went to? Please be Shaggy.
I haven't done a whole lot of concerts.
You've never been?
Yeah.
Even though we have them at X Games every summer.
I've been to the X Games ones, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, Wu-Tang.
Favorite holiday food? This might be different for some of the holidays y'all celebrate down there. Favorite holiday food?
Holiday food. I think holiday for me is like out camping, so just cooking, like barbecuing some stuff on a fire. That's what I'm all about.
Who did the first 360? Was it Brian Deegan or was it
Deegan.
Mr. 199? Okay. This is just more of a general question. Do you enjoy being in the bush?
I love the bush, where I like to sleep.
Best thing you can put. Oh, this is a great follow-up. Best thing you put Vegemite on?
Best thing Vegemite. I think avocado and Vegemite on toast goes hardest. It's really
yeah. What's a place in the United States you've never been to that you'd like to visit?
Place in the United States. I really, really enjoy like Moab and all those places out there in the desert. I've been there and I can just keep going back. I've been like it's so pretty. It's a country that's so big, but the landscape's so vast, changes from one side to the other incredibly. Whereas I feel Australia is pretty, maybe because I know it so well, but it's pretty constant the whole way across. Sure, we have some different, like a lot of different landscape, desert, things like that. But America goes like looks like you're in Antarctica at one end and the middle of a desert, rainforest, hills, flat, just so cool.
You're still on the clock, Jacko. You've won gold on multiple continents for X Games. Where is your favorite place to celebrate an X Games gold medal?
It's just as long as you're with all the boys and all the friends, the celebration's a celebration. You seem to make it work no matter where we are. I think America, though, I'm going to say it's always been part time there.
Do you have a hidden talent that we don't know about? I know you play a couple instruments. We do know that.
The didgeridoo, yeah.
Didgeridoo.
What are you didgeridooing? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not musically talented. When I was at school playing the triangle, they took the spoon thing, the little hitter thing off me and said, just pretend I'm not out of tune.
Here's one. Can you settle for us? I don't know. They're two different things, but thongs or pluggers? What do you say?
I'd say thongs, but in America, that's something that the girl wears, whereas in Australia, it's something you wear on your feet.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Favorite American slang?
Favorite American slang? I don't know. I'm out of tune with it. I haven't been there for a while. It's just everyone's. I think California in itself has just got its own slang. Like everything they say there sounds very Californian.
Right. Favorite pizza topping?
Pineapple.
Who would you not, in capital N-O-T, who would you not fly with?
Who would I not fly with? Malaysian Airlines didn't have a real good run for a while there.
Wow, you took that curveball and hit it in a different direction. What would you not do naked?
What would you not do naked? Ride best trick contest. That'd be pretty embarrassing. Oh, I'd say it would be even worse. Best trick at winner X Games would even be more embarrassing.
It's freezing, okay? How many
to grow,
states?
not sure. How many states?
How many states are in the United States?
52, of course.
Oh. And finally, who is the most talented Deegan?
The most talented. I think Danger for sure. He's like.
Yeah, I thought you might say that.
I'm not going to pick sides, but I appreciate what he does.
You're clocking in at 4 minutes, 47 seconds, almost 4:48. I don't know if you could see that.
Is that good?
It's actually terrible. I'll let you know. We're keeping
I didn't
a
know
tally.
it was a race.
Yeah, I think Fabiola de Silva is our current leader. We'll get the standings in post.
Yeah.
But you're officially out of the hot box. Congratulations.
Sure.
So, talk to us about what you've been up to. As you said, at this point, you would have already traveled to a dozen places all over the world. So you've honestly just gotten to kind of stay home. I assume you've gotten to film a ton. Obviously, you've got a part in Real Moto. But how are you passing the time knowing you don't really have any sort of like competitive or maybe even sponsorship obligations? This has got to be the first time in your professional career where you've got some level of freedom.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's I definitely don't like it either. I look forward to working and going away and visiting places, seeing all my friends again, and like that whole just the whole scene and circuit's so fun to be a part of. But fortunately, I've been quite busy filming. We had Real Moto and other few little projects here and there, and I put a lot of effort and a lot of passion into Real Moto. So I'm really excited. Everyone's going to see that in like a couple of days now, I believe. So I'm excited to share that with the world. Outside of riding dirt bikes, been flying planes quite a bit and skydiving a lot. So it's easy to stay busy at my house.
I want to get into your Real Moto part in just a second, but you brought up the flying, and obviously I've seen your Real Moto part. It's par for the course with you, just absolutely psycho. A lot of firsts in that thing. But I'm always wondered this with you, and I've known you for a long time, but I've never asked you this question. When was the last time you were genuinely terrified to do something? Does it happen often?
Yeah, I think so. In Real Moto, I was like scared to do some of the stuff in there just because there's a lot of like maybes about how it would, like whether they would come, like there's a lot of risk associated with the tricks because of the environment they were in. So there's a few times there I was like, oh shit, I hope this goes well. Unfortunately, it did the whole way through. We went through with minimal crashes, so that was cool. But I scare myself all the time. If you're not scaring yourself, everything starts to get very bland and boring.
Yeah, the one common theme I've seen with Real Moto parts for Jacko Strong over the years is you like to play with fire. Is
Yeah.
that just something that always, it's like when you get to Headstrong Films and you start sort of drawing out the part, are you always like, and then where does the fire come in? And the guys are like, Jacko, we don't need to do fire again. And you're like, yeah, but what about the fire?
I think dirt bikes and fire, it's like where freestyle originated. That was all like the early shows, the Crusties. It was always fireworks and people lit on fire and just fire. It's like peas in a pod. It just works. It's dirt bikes and fire explosions. And then I get to spend my time making them and like have an excuse when mum's like, "What are you doing making more fireworks? You don't need to be doing that." And I can say, "Oh, mum, it's for work. We're actually doing it for Real Moto," and then I can get away with blowing something up.
It turned out beautifully, and just the production value. I mean, we can get to your tricks in a moment, but the production value of
Are we talking about it yet?
Yes, we are. Yes,
oh,
yes,
okay.
yes. They've
Everything
dropped.
that's in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about this part, and just the
Yep.
production value. Number one is incredible. I mean, probably your best work to date when you just think of just a video edit overall. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So when we went into Real Moto, I wanted to do everything off dirt. Being Real Moto in the judging guidelines and stuff, it said the least you can use ramps, the better it's going to be for scoring purposes. So then we decided just to do everything off dirt, not one ramp in the whole shot. And then for a long time, I've wanted to double flip a dirt hit, and I wanted to front flip a dirt hit. Those were the two, like in the, as far as the riding goes, those were the two key, like big tricks. I feel that's what took all of the effort to get those two ticked off, and it's just a lot of effort in there because, for instance, with the double flip, when someone's normally going to double flip a jump, you double flip it in the foam pit, and you really get used to it in there, and the ramp's the same every single time. But when you're building a big dirt hit, you've really got to have your timing on point to know that radio. That's how high I am in the air. This is how long I've got. This is how steep the jump is. This is roughly how I think it's going to rotate and how it's going to work. And then there's so many other variables that come in, because if the lip's got a tiny bit of water on it and your wheel slips a tiny bit, like the tiniest bit of wheel slip or dirt caving away on the lip means you're going to literally do 1.5 flips and not 2. So that the double flip and the front flip on the dirt really is what took the time in that edit. There's a lot of practice and a lot of just changing the lip. Like I was literally sitting there with a hammer and a little piece of metal, just banging the dirt in different spots to try and make it steeper in certain sections. And at the end, we came out with a pretty cool, I think a pretty cool result. Got those two things done. I don't know if they'll happen again anytime soon. I don't know if it's kind of set the new bar for contests when we have dirt lips in contests. If now we're kind of going to go out and fronting and double them. It was definitely risky. That doesn't rotate as fast on dirt, so it'll be interesting. I think it's still a few years off being able to do it in contests. So
interesting. Yeah, that begs. Well, I don't want to jump around too much, but I do want to ask you about the future of freestyle and best trick contests, because I think you guys have really figured out the risk reward, right? And ultimately, what you've got in your bag, and you respect what other riders have, especially in best trick, right? So,
yeah,
the idea of one-upping someone just for the sake of one-upping it, you're not going to mess around out there. But do you feel like, given the current climate of best trick, that you're still just kind of tipping the iceberg of what's possible out there?
definitely. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I think everyone's been doing, like all the guys are doing tricks in their foam pit a year or two ahead of where we are when we get to a contest. Like I've definitely got a few more things that I could have done probably at the last contest, but I wasn't at the point. Like there was probably a 70% chance I was going to crash. So I just need more time to work on it. So it's just about finding it's just a time thing. Like it's going to keep progressing at that rate. It has been for the next unforeseeable future, really. Like I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I feel it. Like last year, sorry, at Mini, when Rinaldo did the varial backflip, that just blew everyone's mind again. Like that's the next level again. That's where when we come back in 2021, that's going to be that's I think we're going to see a head and shoulders again on top of that because everyone's had time to play around and get ready again. But it's definitely not going to get boring.
I wanted to ask you about David's backflip body varial specifically because it is such a unique trick, such a cool trick. And it's kind of a departure from what we've seen with some of the double backs in the front. Is that something you knew that he had been working on for a while? Obviously, we hadn't really seen him, find success like that at X Games. So for him to bust that out in Minneapolis was pretty special last summer.
So cool. I had no idea. And before he went on his run, I was sitting there with Adelberg watching him because he was like pretty early up and we were last and did not know what he was going to do. And Rob goes, watch this. And, Rinaldo told me what he's doing. He said he's going to try a Cali roll flip before they, like when we were waiting there before we went out for the event. And I was like, wow, if he does that, that's like pretty next level. And sure enough, he pulled it off. I think that trick's so risky and so... like there's so many little things that can go wrong. You're not only trying to make a flip spin the right speed, but you're letting go of the bike in the middle of it and turning around. It's just so many different rotations going on there that it's so risky.
I don't know why I didn't ask you this at the beginning, but where are you? This is some comfy couch you're on right now. I'm
I'm relaxing.
jealous. What is this? You're at mom's. Are you at mom's house? Are you in the living room? Where are you?
No, we're at I'm at the Headstrong Films office where the boys do all the work where we have World of X shows come to life. So I'm in here chilling, hanging out with the boys.
I see a fire extinguisher in the background. It feels like that's a place where it would come in handy.
Yeah. You never know what'll happen.
Yeah, that looks fairly new.
I know.
Like maybe you've gone through a couple.
Yeah, I'll normally carry one with me too.
You mentioned when we were talking about fire in your part in your real moto part, Crusties, and kind of an ode to what you sort of grew up watching. Talk to us about kind of that, where the desire to get on a dirt bike and do things that you didn't think were possible before, and how Crusties kind of played a part in that for you.
So when I was younger, there was this bus, like a truck. It's like a bus that came around to our town once a week. It was a mobile library that would come around like to all the little smaller towns, and in that, like to all the little schools. And in that bus, there was Crusty Demons of Dirt #2, and it was just weird. There was like a school bus, and just somehow it had Crusty 2 VCR in, like totally inappropriate. So every week I'd go and hire that, and I'd hire it, and then I'd have to take it back the following Tuesday and then rehire it, and just did that over and over. Watch that on repeat, and that was kind of the I think that was the starting point for dirt bikes for me. But it was where I got really passionate about it and excited after that. And then the opening scene on that's where one of the guys, it's not Seth, I can't remember, not off the top of my head now, but he jumps out of the ground to start the film, and that's kind of like I wanted to start the Real Moto the same way. So we dug a big hole under the ground and dug a big tunnel underneath the ground, and then put a ramp coming out of the tunnel and jumped out of the ground. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you were certainly paying homage to that part. Yeah, it's a beautiful way to start the film, man. That was pretty rad. So that was something that had brewing from that part on Crusties too.
Yeah. That was and that's like a pretty iconic thing. That, like, when I think about the early days of freestyle, that's the scenes that I think about, and that's what kind of made it all exciting for me at the start, I feel.
You have 12 X Games medals.
Really?
6 of them gold, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, you think I'm underselling you? Or you think you have more than that or less? Or
no, I think you're overselling me. I didn't know there was that many. It's good though.
You do. 6 gold, 4 silver, 2 bronze. But who's counting? Do you have a favorite moment from your X Games career? Is it one of those medal performances? Is it your first one? Everyone remembers their first.
Everyone remembers their first.
When it comes to X Games.
What stuck out was my first one. I think it was exciting back at the Staples Center in LA, front flip there. I was kind of going in the real underdog there, and not in the years before, so many people would crash the front flip, and I kind of went through so much to get there and put so much in the line. I front flipped a whole lot to dirt at my house before I went there, and that was just like such a long journey and so much pressure, so much stress to get there, and then have the ultimate payoff at the end of that was like incredible. Another one that sticks out would be the Austin X Games, when I got hurt in the quarter pipe thing and then had to go to hospital in the heli, got a return heli trip, and then got the best trick gold there. That was another one that I'll take to the grave for sure as well.
I have all terrific memories. Let's go back though to that Austin trip, because it was pretty well documented at that time, just what a warrior you were. But maybe for some of our fans watching at home that either didn't watch it or aren't familiar with the story, take us back to that moment in Austin. I can't remember if it was 2015 or 2014.
16.
Maybe 2016.
Yeah.
Just exactly what went down. And for most athletes, that would be it for them after an injury like that, and for you to come back the way you did and compete again.
Yeah.
So tell us the story.
So I was double flipping off the quarter pipe because we had quarter pipe best trick first. So I was doing a double flip transfer off the quarter pipe. So picture like a spine jump with the landing up there, and I was doing a double flip transfer. And to do that trick, you literally go straight up and then straight back down, and the landing probably wasn't steep enough for what I needed to use. And I was, in hindsight, obviously it should have been steeper, but at that point in time, I only just started doing that trick, and I didn't want to. I was just trying to get it done. So I went out there, long story long, in quarter pipe, landed so hard that I couldn't hang on to my bike. My body folded over top of my bike, and my handlebar took it straight to the jugular, and then I had difficulty like breathing. My neck started to swell up a lot, and I went and got from the X Games Minutes, got a ultrasound on the what's that artery called? Whatever that
Next
big
to your
one is.
Adam's apple. This right here.
Yeah. Femoral? No, that's in your leg. Colloidal. I don't know.
This
anyway, yeah, that guy.
Okay.
And it looked like it was bleeding in the ultrasound, so I got rushed off to hospital in a helicopter. And it was like a 6-minute flight there, and then I was first one in because my injury was at the top of the list when I got there because it was bleeding. It was a big deal.
Not to cut you off, were you freaking out at that point though? Like when you know you've got to take a chopper to like a hospital, is there a small part of you that's like, oh yeah, I was it's not good,
freaking out because I spent like 4 months training every single day, and then got taken out on the first one, so I was cranky as. I wasn't too worried about anything else. I was just kind of pissed off. So then I went there, and then they said you're all clear, and then I think it was like Tom Parsons broke his wrist, and Tom was coming in on a stretcher. And I was like, "Hey, Tom," and I was trying to leave and get back out. And I think Deegan was driving to pick me up from hospital, and I was trying to leave and get back out. And then I saw the helicopter because that was like on the helipad. It was just firing up to go back. And then I just ran out there and said, "Hey, you guys going back to X Games?" And they said, "Yeah." So can I come? They said, "Yeah, no worries." So I went and sat in the back of it. And then I had my phone with me and called Deegan on the way and said, "Can you come pick me up from the helipad?" And then they brought my mechanic, Mitch, that was there, and Benny had my bike. They fixed my bike up. They borrowed parts because I bent my handlebars, my pipe, the wheels, like everything bent on the bike. And then they got the bike going. And then I remember coming back into X Games, and I was just it was all a bit confusing because I was like, there's so much stress and so many loud noises and so many things just happened. And I got back, and then everyone's out warming up for best trick. So I just went boom, straight out and into it.
And the rest is history. That's so unbelievable on so many levels. But
I didn't even notice that because I was just in the moment the whole time. I wasn't even thinking like, is this smart or dumb? Like I wasn't even thinking it was unusual. You know, I was just getting there, and I wanted to get it done. I already crashed. I was already angry from crashing and like a little bit pissed off. So I was just I was there. I was going back to have a good crack. Put it that way.
It must have been a 6-man field because you came in 6th place in the quarter pipe contest, but then you obviously came
That
back
doesn't
and
sound that bad.
I came in 6th. There were 6 guys, but I came in 6th. And then of course you won best trick, but it feels like as you're telling me this story, surreal because so many things kind of like had to go right for you to like A, get back there in a timely fashion, and 2, that your bike is like working properly, right? That you would just like roll up, still see the chopper there and be like, yo, can you guys take me back to Circuit of the Americas? And like for them to be like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, I'm not
That
paying
seems
either.
that seems crazy. Yeah, that's the cheapest helicopter ride you've ever taken.
Yeah,
And then that your guys were working on your bike and that it was ready to
yeah, I
roll
know.
for the next event.
They started like packing everything up, the bike, and putting it in the back of the van to go back to California, and then we yeah, for somehow Mitch has like spun so many spinners to get that thing back together. I remember after the event, we had to pull the bike down and give parts back to everyone. We borrowed like so many parts off Tucker and Jared McNeil, and there's just things going everywhere. There was all like random bolts, like Honda bolts in a Yamaha, and the whole thing was just barely stuck together. But yeah,
Frankenstein bike.
it worked.
It did work for you. It did work for you that night. Talk to us
It
about the
shows.
community of riders in freestyle, especially. Obviously, so many of you guys tour together. There's a huge Aussie contingency, of course. But what's the mentality for most of you guys? Is there a competitive fire between all of you guys, or is there friendships that sort of burn brighter than that?
Definitely friendships that burn brighter, I think, because what we do is so dangerous. And I think this is similar the whole way across action sports because people have like had friends seriously injured or been killed before doing what they love. So it's not like there's a competitive level, but everyone just looks out for everyone else. Like if someone else does something cool and lands that trick, I'm instantly amped for them because I know exactly how much work they had to put in to make that happen and how much risk they took and how much they put on the line. So if someone beats me or someone wins, it's more like you're just amped for them and you're like, well, I lost. That was my fault. They won. And what they did was insane. I think that's the way it is. No one out there wants to see anyone get hurt or not ride to their potential for their own gain. I feel that's how. I think that's just X Games in general. It's just a vibe where everyone's just amped to see everyone do well. And that's what makes action sports so cool. Like, obviously, everyone wants to win. There's not someone that goes to X Games and goes, yes, I'm going to X Games. I hope I get last place. Everyone's going there thinking, like, yeah, I want to win. But at the same time, everyone's just as amped for their own sport and their own community to do well. That I feel is what makes it so special. It's not like a running race at the Olympics or wherever it might be that's someone will tie someone's shoelaces together to beat the other person. I'm not saying that about the Olympics, but I just feel it's like such a tight community where everyone's just amped for everyone.
That's good to hear.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, and because you guys can appreciate,
how
just
dangerous it is,
how
and
of course,
how quickly things can change, how quickly it can go bad, and how much work we have to put in. So I feel that's where everyone equally respects each other at that level.
Well, let me segue that into a couple of guys that sort of have a budding rivalry, and it's hard to like make out from like our vantage point, whether it be media or fans or social media, on what's real and what's not. But I think of two guys in particular right now, like Axel Hodges and Colby Raha, and it's been
those guys don't like each other.
Yeah. So like,
no, they do. They actually.
Yeah. So I don't want, obviously to a certain extent, rivalries or perceptions of things can kind of like, increase the eyeballs and thoughts and fandom. But like, I just want the truth. But, obviously I guess I could ask both of those guys, but since I have you here and since I know, those guys well, what is the story behind those two?
From where I sit and friends with both of them and talk to both of them, I think things just get blown out of the water a bit. And it's just like the California schoolgirls type thing where they both talk about each other sometimes and it goes backwards and forwards, but they don't really know why they're doing it. And they still like each other. And if you say to Colby, what do you think of how high Axel goes on a quarter pipe? He's going to say that's insane. So the same thing to Axel would say that exactly about Colby. So I think that they just like the attention, or they don't like the attention. Things just get blown out of the water. Everyone wants a good guy and a bad guy.
Right.
Everyone wants some something going on. It keeps everyone entertained. For me, I just can't be bothered.
I mean, the same could be said. This was obviously pre-Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat.
Deegan and Pastrana.
Like Deegan and Pastrana. And,
yeah, I know.
And it's funny now. Right. But now we have hindsight, right? And Brian is, Brian Deegan is one of the greatest, brand geniuses our industry has ever seen, right? So Brian Deegan can sit here 20 years later and say, I understood, what it would mean to our sport if I play this role and he's the squeaky clean guy. You know what I mean? So it felt a little more orchestrated. And so you wonder if there's a little bit of that play with Colby and Axel.
That's how I feel it is. It's the same sort of thing a little bit. But I don't think that they're the ones doing it as much. I think the fans kind of pick sides and the fans push them into doing those things rather than them actually, being I don't think they're the instigators. Like they're actually both like get on and fine every time I see them together. They don't care. I think it's other people around them and just the fans. Whereas back in the day with Deegan and Pastrana, I think that was maybe a little more orchestrated in a little more theatrical probably than what it is these days. I don't know.
Deegan,
but it's like now you talk theatrical, no. But you look at it again in like those two now are good friends and have equal respect for each other and so I don't think that it's it was just for show, obviously. Right. Or it's the way that everyone wants to pick a side. It's not like even though it's not a team sport, they pick either way it's going to go kind of.
Oh, yeah. You've got
what I mean? Like everyone wants to pick a football side.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you have your allegiance to? Yeah. Jordan, LeBron. There's kids who are like LeBron's the best basketball player of all time. And then there's old school people who are like, no, it's, Michael Jordan. No, so I can appreciate that. But let's talk real quick before I let you go. Tricks. I mean, we just talked about tip of the iceberg. You saw what Rinaldo did. You were hyped on that. Didn't see that coming. Now that you've had time, let's just say since really the start of 2020 to be in the lab, so to speak, is there anything in particular, obviously doing stuff dirt to dirt is there for you, but is there any trick that we haven't seen from Jacko Strong that we could potentially see at a venue near us at some point, perhaps next year?
I don't know. I hope there's something there. I did mention a little disclaimer before. They've been flying planes and skydiving a lot too. But I've been on the Viking in the pit, but I'm going to knuckle down a bit harder than what I have been the last month. But kind of just so much effort went into Real Moto. And then that was done. I've been having a little break during enjoying the fruits of life.
Hey, you're always great at referring different TV shows or movies or anything like that. During quarantine, has there been anything on Netflix that you would recommend for us to check out to pass the time?
So one thing that I never did with Netflix is never watch TV series because I hate watching one episode. Like someone that'll sit down and watch one and be like, "Oh, what's going to happen next?" and then end up staying up until ridiculous hours of the day. But
you did that with Downtown Abbey, didn't you?
Yeah, Downtown Abbey, and Debbie Does Dallas. So I think that was a different one. Or anyway, I started with the TV series this time around, and that was pretty cool.
What was it?
I learned not how to binge watch and how to pace myself. There was a few. Yeah, it's just a big blur, Netflix, because it's a blur. I watched one, maybe it was like Merlin or something. They were like some what's the old ones where they have like people with swords, like Harry Potter type stuff. I like watching that nerdy.
You like sci-fi stuff and
escaping to a different
fantasy?
place. Yeah. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, fantasy.
This is just between you and I. That's what Jacko fantasizes about. Got it. Hey, how about your facility, dude? That looks like on Instagram. Looks like you got
so good.
You got something new. Can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, that's one thing that the quarantine really helped out with. It gave me the time to finish that off. I spent a lot of time finishing that building, and it's 100 meters. It's 300 feet by 100 feet wide, and then it's about 50 feet tall, I think. So there's plenty of room in there to jump and do all the tricks. And
size matters,
with
Jacko.
X Games, everyone knows that. With X Games being in our winter, every time I try and practice for X Games each year, like before I leave for Minneapolis, it'd always be raining and muddy and wet at home. So I decided to put everything indoors. So it's always good weather. And I feel in freestyle or in most sports, you're kind of a reflection on what your training area is like and how much time, obviously, you get to have on the bike. And the only limiting factor of that was weather for me, or for most people's weather. So I've decided to eliminate that, and hopefully that way I can really get a very consistent training schedule in come X Games next year when we're back on. Hopefully I can be riding 6 days a week, 2 hours every single morning on the bike. That way I think that consistency and rhythm helps you get to the level that you need to be at. So I'm excited to not have to worry about weather in the future. Also, there's so many like airbag landings and stuff that we practice on now, and foam pits and things that are really damaged by the sun and the elements. So from a financial standpoint, it kind of made sense to do this and then have a little longevity in all my equipment as well.
And with this new facility, obviously comes innovation as you're able to do more stuff. And I'm sure it's probably a popular place. The line is long, I imagine, of riders wanting to come through and try things out over there, huh?
Yeah, it's long for sure. Everyone's keen to come now. They know there's going to be no bad weather days or anything. But I got a pretty tight crew there that come out. The main two that are always riding are Ben and Tom Richards. So Tom's 17, Ben's 19, and those guys they've been coming out to my house for about 10 years now, and they're just like really good riders. They're the two guys we'll see at X Games in a couple of years, and I definitely don't doubt that. It's just they've spent that much time on a dirt bike that they ride a dirt bike now, and they're so smooth, so calculated that they're ready for like it's not going to be long at all before they'll be standing on the podium at the events. And I'm just been trying to steer them in the right direction, I guess, or trying to get them to the point where they'll be safe in the big world by themselves. And there's plenty of time for them. There's no point them jumping out there too soon.
How did they even get on your radar? Because that seems like the ultimate internship to get to basically be under Jacko's wing for a few years.
I don't know if it's a good one to be under, but anyway.
Learn from the master. How'd you meet those guys?
They used to live next door to a rider, Truman Carroll. So a guy that he didn't do X Games, he did some X Fighters, and just a really close friend from Wagga. And we used to always ride at his house. We're either riding at my house or his spot. And these two, Benny and Tommy, I think they were like 6 and 8 years old when they started coming over riding. They lived next door to him, and they'd just jump the fence after school and sit there and watch us. And then they eventually got dirt bikes, and then one thing led to another. They started jumping the ramps, and it's just been they've been just riding so solid for so long. But now they're at the stage where they're kind of old enough to start pushing themselves and really wanting it themselves. I think before they were sort of, when they were the age 14, 16, 17, yeah, still a kid. But now they're at that 17 and 19 where they're like, I want to win contests now. I want to be doing that stuff. I want to do that. And you can see it in their eyes. They'll do it. It's only a matter of time.
Well, thank you so much, Jacko. I really appreciate the time. Before I let you go, though, I want to ask you, because I haven't really seen you post about him. I hope Skip's okay. What's going on with Skip?
Fine. Everyone says that. They're like, yeah.
Okay, good. We haven't seen the posts about Skip, and your pet Kangaroo. I just want to make sure she's okay.
she's part of the furniture now. She's there every single night, breathing on the door. She just puts her face on the glass door and just goes, and just like goes fog on, fog off, fog on, fog off, and then she just sleeps next to the door. Yeah, she's not very she's not very social. Some of the other kangaroos come around and she's like, she doesn't want to have a bar of them. She chases them, like I think she just thinks she's a dog, so she kind of just chases the other kangaroos away and comes back.
I wonder, it's a question of nature versus nurture. She's so domesticated. Was she always meant this way, or did you isolate her so now she doesn't want to play nice with her?
No, she always had other kangaroos that live on like 20,000 acres, so she could go. She's never been tied up or anything, but she's one of the boys. She wants to hang.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just glad. I'm glad she's okay, because we hadn't seen many posts. I felt like I have to ask you about her, and I'm just glad that there's no egg on my face. All's well with her. Okay, good.
When we get back, I'll put one on Insta and put you in it so you can see.
Wait, will you tag me?
Yeah. I'll cut her face out and put it on a stick.
You should. You don't already have that? That's not already out there?
Yeah, I get it.
All right. I'll let you get to it. Jackson, thank you so much, man. All the best. You can check out his part right now, xgames.com/Real Moto. But man, I really appreciate the time, Jacko.
Thank you very much. Please check out the pod, everyone, and we really want that fan favorite, just so you know. If you can get on there and do a little vote, appreciate mucho gracias, world.
Have a great day, brother.
Thanks, Brando. I can't wait to see you in person.